Down payment assistance in Texas in 2023. Now, Texas has some amazing programs for people that you could be a first-time or even a non-first-time buyer. So if you're looking for down payment assistance, you want to make sure to stay tuned. I'm Jennifer Hernandez, lender for almost 3 decades. I've helped thousands of families, and I'm super passionate about bringing you real facts, no BS, everything mortgage. So let's get started. So the most popular state-run programs in Texas is the acronym I'm going to put for you here on the screen, TDHCA or TSAHC. So conveniently, in my office, around the lingo around the office, we call it TDAC or TSAC. TDHCA stands for the Texas Department of Housing Community Affairs. Now, TSAC stands for Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation. Now, that is a mouthful. I even had to edit this video a couple of times and say these. It's like a tongue twister. So TDAC and TSAC have some really great programs. Now, within those two entities, what happens is the federal government allocates certain amounts of money to the states in order to disperse. So the state, and that's another reason to use a local lender, by the way, is that a local lender, a Texas lender, is going to know possibly more thoroughly the state programs that are available. So within TDAC and within TSAC, there are probably 2 or 3 programs that sit beneath those entities, and each of them has different requirements. I'm going to give you just some bullet points here, but definitely you want to check out the links to each of those websites. We're going to include the links to each of those websites so you can see more specifically which down payment assistance might apply to you. Now, the first thing to note that I do want to mention is that the programs go in and out of being available. So that's why I don't want to talk too specifically about any one program, because it might not be available by the time someone is watching this video. But for the most part, there are income limits, okay? So if you make too much money, you possibly, or most surely, are not going to qualify for the assistance. So the assistance is, depending on the program, it can be anywhere from 80% all the way up to 120% of the AMI, which stands for average median income. So at any given point in time, you could just inquire online. You could just Google AMI, average median income, for your area, and it would just pop right up. So anywhere from 80% to 100%, 120% of the AMI is generally the income limits for most of these programs. The other thing to note is that the programs, these are again the state of Texas programs, TDHCA and TSAHC, require a 620, and some of them require a 640 credit score. So if you're wondering where to have your credit, that's a great general area to have your credit, to know that it's the right time to approve for a house. So the assistance is generally either 2%, 3%, 4%, or 5% of the loan amount. So if your loan amount is $300,000 and you're getting a 3% assistance, that would be $300,000 times 3%. That's a 9% benefit. So the other important thing to note is that there are some programs that are what we call repayable, which means that the amount, let's just use the example again of the $9,000. So the $9,000 was your benefit that was actually used at closing. And it's a little second lien. It's called a second lien that's attached to the property. There's no payment due. There's no interest. It just sits there. It just is in a parking spot on the title of your property until such a time that you either A, refinance, or B, sell the property, and whichever comes first. And at that time, that $9,000 in this example would be repayable to the state of Texas. Now, the next type of assistance is forgivable assistance. So forgivable means that it's actually forgiven. And the usual period of time is 3 years. Now, there might be some extended years available. Every program is a little bit different, but most of them currently have 3 years of a forgivable period where as long as you stay in the property, don't refinance, and don't sell the property in the 3 years, then that money is forgiven. And it's poof, it just goes away. That is how you have it. So those are the basic requirements for the down payment assistance loans in the state of Texas. Now, there are other programs that might be available through local banks and local credit unions, and those are generally 0% down. So one last thing that I'll note about the state TSAC and TDAC loans is that they are applicable to, I'm going to call it piggybacking, or being attached to any of the type of either conventional or government loans, which government would include FHA, USDA, or VA loans. So it's really important to know that you would use, those are the vehicles in which you can access these this type of assistance. So then the next thing important to note is that there are, outside of the state of Texas, there's more localized assistance that might be available, either sometimes through some credit unions and some local banks. Now, it's generally has to be in a certain area, and these loans are a little bit more restrictive. They'll have a higher credit score usually, and they also will require a lower debt to income ratio. So it's important to just compare the two. Down payment assistance with the state, which is more lenient. It allows for more debt to income. It allows for higher debt compared to the 0% down. Sometimes higher credit is required, and also a lower debt to income ratio. So there you have it. Texas, state of Texas, down payment assistance programs. Good luck with your purchase. Talk to you soon.